Welcome to Connecting Greeks, a streaming comedy show and podcast designed to explore and enhance Greek culture around the world. Join hosts Angelo, Adi, and Foti as they bring you fun and interesting guests from all walks of Greek life. Grab a cafedaki and join us.
Hey everyone, welcome to another fantastic episode of the Connecting Greeks podcast. I am Ari, and I am very, very, very excited for tonight's episode. We have two amazing guests. We are going to kind of dig into their brains, kind of get to know them. A lot of interesting stuff. We just met before we started recording, and we feel like we're old friends. As Greeks generally do, this is why we do Connecting Greeks, because connecting the Greeks, it's so easy and it flows, and you're going to see how this goes when you meet these two fine gentlemen. Before we get to them, let me introduce Foti Stamos. Hello, Foti.
Ari, how's it going, brother? What a great introduction, as you do always. And as always, exciting. But for me, I think hosting this podcast, Connecting Greeks, I've met more Kalimians on this podcast than I have in my actual roots being in the island.
I don't want to offend our guests, but like you've met way too many Kalimians. It's like not Connecting Greeks, it's Connecting Kalimians.
Hey, we might have to do that, guys. I'm sorry, but we definitely want to get to know these gentlemen a little more because their story is amazing. Their background is fascinating. We definitely need to actually get into.
But you just said amazing. So speaking of amazing, let us bring on Angelo Koutsoudakis, everyone. What's up, Angelo?
What's up, fellas? What's going on? Foti, Adi.
How are you?
Back here on the Connecting Kalimnos. I'm looking forward to it. Listen, these guys, good-looking guys, both lawyers. I'm trying to figure out their salaries and their net because I want to know how much. This is the Greek thing. We bring our guests on and we try to figure out what they make. But we got
we'll figure it out. We got
Andreas Koutsoudakis and Michael Iakovou. KI Legal. And I think these gentlemen are based in New York. I briefly met them when I was hosting the Greek America Awards, and I was in a little bus selling peponia and karpuzia. And it was crazy. We had drag queens and singers. We had, Evangelia was on, and we had Anna Visi. And welcome to the show, gentlemen. Good to have you guys on Connecting Greeks.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us, guys.
Looking forward to this.
Yeah, and just to start off, me speaking, but let me share. There's a reason why it's always Connecting Kalimnians. It's because there's a lot of special Kalimnians, starting with this kid right here, who came into my life, 3 years ago. And, we talked about this. We have so much happening at the firm and new partners, and it's just amazing. And it's been just such a huge blessing to do what we've done together. But specifically about Michael, like I remember signing the operating agreement and he had got to go to the bathroom for a minute and I'm about to sign it. I'm like, I haven't even had a beer with this guy. And yet here we are, and I'm about to embark on a partnership, and I've been through a lot over the last 2 years. And most people run for the hills, but this person has been very special. And so in that context, that's why you have a lot of Kalimnians on your show.
Okay.
They're very good people. They have a lot of values, a lot of morals, a lot of ethics. And for me, that's the stuff, through thick and thin in life, through friendships, marriage, relationships, partnerships. That's what it is. You look through that. You look for that in everything. Or at least you should.
I'm going to start crying now.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. It's worthy. And it's not the first time I've said it. It's every chance I get it.
Andy, is your family from Kalimnos also?
No. Thank God. No, I'm just kidding.
Where's your family from? Thank God we're not from there. We're good people.
Throw that shit
I love that whole speech.
Both of my parents, my dad, rest in peace. Both of them are from Chania. They actually grew up in the neighborhood. Chania.
That's my mom. My mom is from Chania.
Wait, what part? Yes.
Oh man, if I tell you right now.
How come your name's not Manoli if you're from Chania?
My grandfather's name is Manoli Koutsoudakis.
Koutsoudakis.
We invented Tsikudia, I like to tell people.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's like the real moonshine. Everyone's like, oh, moonshine, I'm Middle American. No. It's Tsikudia. When I was young, we used to step on the grapes in front of our house ice cold. All the little kids, we'd clean our feet, step on the grapes, then we'd grind the thing. And then inside the house, it was like a crystal meth lab. It was like one pot with the pipe coming out and another one, and eventually you get the little drip. You're distilling the grape leaves. And that's how you make tsikoudia.
Funny story about that, right? Again, from Kalimnos, Andrea from Crete. When we first partnered up, I was a transactional attorney by trade, real estate, a bit of a different world. Andrea grew up in the restaurants, right, through his father, but then he also naturally, as he became an attorney, he started representing and defending restaurants. So a bit of a different world. So here I am, new partnership. We're going and we're visiting clients of his, visiting clients.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so we go to this diner. I won't say which one in Manhattan. And I mean, you tell the story better than I do. But the client pulls out this jug underneath the table.
No. Shush. It was eleolado.
Yeah,
it was in the container of olive oil. But
and he's like, "Καλή μια πιέση εσύ εδώ να δεις." Και λέω, "Εντάξει, okay, θα πιω λίγο, θα δοκιμάσουμε τι, δεν ξένος άνθρωπος. I don't want to be rude."
In the olive oil.
That's awesome.
Are you serious? That's so good.
And I'm drinking it. And I'm after like 2-3 drinks, I'm starting to get a little tipsy here. I'm like, I don't want to say anything stupid. I just met this guy, but to them it was natural. This is how they communicate, right? So very quickly I learned, your real estate corporate world, your restaurant and hospitality world, and then the marriage of the two. And here we are 3.5 years later.
Here's literally, it was actually what we were doing for the client it was entirely within his scope, right? Trust in estates, asset protection, restaurant owner, old school, super successful.
Restaurant owner with
20 buildings. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And doesn't write at all, right? It's just super successful. And I mean, you would never tell. Like, you think he just has one diner and that's it, but he's built a massive portfolio. But Michael's going through, and Michael speaks perfect Greek. Perfect. So he's speaking to him, and I'm just listening because this is Michael's practice area expertise. And he's listening to him, and then he turns to me, he's like, "Τι λέει αυτός?"
Like perfect. I was trying to be.
Oh my goodness!
Guys, what are you saying?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, guys. Interesting. It's great to have you in the show. I'm sure we all got questions for you.
Yeah.
But Andy, your story is unique in the sense that you're doing it in a different order here. Most of our parents left from the same area to get a better life for us, and they did successfully. You can say for the most part what they sacrificed and what they've done with what limited knowledge and education they had is phenomenal. There's no doubt about it. Your story, which is, like many immigrant stories, your family was in the food business, you did all this kind of stuff. And then your father did all this for the community. And then I'm going to say it, fucking COVID, because that's what I like to call it, happened. Yep. And unfortunately, it affected your family and it took your father, but inspired you, which I think is the story here. When I saw it, when the guys told me about it, I knew about it. I read about it from all of you guys. The inspiration that comes out of the story, I find remarkable that you actually said, no, you guys are successful lawyers. But you're going to honor your father by where the Tribeca restaurant, you're going to keep it. And people, I saw it on the Today Show. I saw the press clippings and stuff. I do my homework, unlike Adi and Forti, who all they know to say is the guys from Kalimno, and then they sit back. Someone's Ponai Blatimo carrying these two guys. No, these two guys are awesome. We joke around all the time.
They are.
You must have gone all of us. But inspiring guys, inspiring Andy. So you tell us the story. I want everybody to know this.
Yeah.
I was very, very, because honestly, at first you go, what's this? And then I saw this and I'm like, wow. And you're honoring your father and the community. Here's a man who in New York City, a big fucking New York City, and all these people were honoring your father. Even the Today Show, these people were moved by your story. Tell us, condense.
So Michael and I, we partnered December 6, 2018. I remember we signed the operating agreement. But technically we started January 1st, 2019. So we weren't where we are now then. Not then, and we certainly weren't when my dad passed away on March 27, 2020. We were a year and 3 months in we had one employee at the time. And, to start, Michael and I partnered because he did what I did for the same client base, but the opposite side, right? So we both represented business owners, except I did litigation, he did transactions. So that was the first thing that we did different. Most people, you do real estate, me too, great. When I have a bad month, you'll have a good month, and our bills would get paid. But we wanted to bring the big firm tricks to the little guy. We wanted to start combining it, and that's something that both of us wanted to accomplish, and it's ingrained from our parents and how we were raised, right? Why can't we do this? Why can't we do this? Gemis, right? That's the Greek attitude.
Right.
So my dad, COVID happens. My dad was 59. He passes away very quickly. I think he was the first Greek. I know he was first Greek in the United States to pass away. It was just complete knockout punch for me. Just knocked me off my ass when that happened.
You're an only child too.
I'm an only child. My dad's one of four siblings. He has 3 sisters. He's the only boy, only guy. I'm the only one carrying the name, same name as my father. I mean, my whole life was, this amazing dad who was such a good person, the life of a party, very social, hardworking, committed, sticks to community. That's where he stayed. Tribeca from 1989, March of 1989 until March 2020. Amazing. And actually March 1990 they opened. It was exactly 30 years that he spent in that community at G Wiz and then Tribeca's Kitchen. So when he passed away, everybody was locked in home. I was scrambling, trying to figure out. I was in between moves, selling one house, buying another. Michael says, pause everything, go focus on this. We got it. I don't want to hear from you. Just go take care of what you need to take care of. Well, 1 month turned into 3 months, turned into 4 months. And, it was amazing because here we are building this firm during this time period. And at the same time, on my end with the restaurant, what you're referring to about the story, it was, one, honoring my dad, the neighborhood. I would come visit the store. Nobody could leave the house. So good. So I'm going to go to the restaurant. Nobody could find me there, and I tore the whole place down before anybody could tell me don't do it. I didn't want anybody to step foot in that restaurant the way it was when he was here without him present. So I'm going to gut it. You're never going to step foot into Tribeca's Kitchen without my father the way it was. That's right. Gone. Remember that memory? Packed restaurant. You're never going to be in that version of it without him present. And that was the one thing that drove me on that part of it. Obviously, my mom, making sure that she's financially stable on her own, the restaurant that my father built because she was at home taking care of the home front, right? And then from a business standpoint, it was, I'm going to do everything I tell my clients to do, right? And I needed every single aspect of our law firm over these last 2.5 years. And so during this whole time period, my dad had like a very progressive diner. And here I am training diner cooks, diner dishwashers, diner prep guys, diner servers, diner bussers, diner hosts, diner managers, bringing in some new talent to do so, because I don't know, what am I going to teach them, right? I can teach them operations. I can teach them business. I can do all of the connecting and putting the team together. But the actual conversion comes from motivation, right? Encouragement, showing them that there's another way, but also taking this and it better work to my clients and saying, hey, stop telling me no, you got to take a step back and you got to make some difficult decisions. I don't take a pay there. I never took a pay there, not $1, nor did my mother. Some manager does, and he gets paid well, and he gets health insurance, and he has a 5K life insurance policy, and so does the chef and a bunch of other people. But we need to stop treating our businesses the way that was acceptable and more than okay 30 years ago. And right. That's the premise of our whole firm is the things that got our parents successful, that made them successful, no longer are enough.
So true.
And I hate to use
so true.
I hate to use the term case study, but that's exactly what it was for Andrea. And then, by osmosis, the firm, everything that we tell our clients to do, well, we were collectively going through it, right?
Exactly.
So it's really hard for the client to sit across from the table and say, well, I can't do it. I can't do it that way. Yes, you can, because Andrea just did it, right?
Yeah.
And then on the other side, while he was there going through what he had to go through, on my end, here I am. The world is literally crumbling in so many different ways. But with respect to these business owners, you have mass shutdowns. You have testing requirements, HR compliance, lawsuits, people dying, like it was chaos. And they're coming to the lawyer to basically save my life, my livelihood, right? Again, not save my life, but save my livelihood. Everything that I've worked for from the moment I got off of that ship or that plane 35 years ago, it's all going to be lost like that. And therein we saw just a big hole in the services that the average business owner needed that were just out of grasp. Whether economically, they didn't ignore emails, they didn't know who to speak to, right? That only AM100 law firms, Skadden, big firms had, and the small solo practitioner or the 10 person and less shop couldn't provide this plethora of services, whether it was, bankruptcy, restructuring, commercial real estate, labor, employment defense, compliance, whatever it may be. And that's when we looked at each other and we said, this is what we need to build out. And that's what we've been doing the last 3 years.
Yeah, you really just build on that. It's, there's a lot of small firms and a lot of big firms. The big firms are out of grasp, like Michael just said. They're just too expensive. And quite frankly, the economics, you're irrelevant to them, right? They don't really that you're going to be gone tomorrow in their mind. And even if you survive, you're only one store. So they don't really care. It's not exciting to the big partners to them. Right. That's not the Johnson & Johnsons of the world. That's not the person who's going to pay $20 million for a bankruptcy and so on and so forth, right? But they're not interested. They want to help you. They just can't. The whole firm is designed for a different type of client. Right. And on the other side of the spectrum, you have really great attorneys who do commercial real estate, 10 attorneys, 3, 4. Maybe they do one other thing. You have really great attorneys that do labor and employment or criminal or something. But again, there aren't law firms that service business owners, again, many of which are very, very successful, and big firms ignore them for the wrong reasons, right? They don't take that diner because they don't take a chance to find out that they have a $30 million portfolio of real estate, right? They ignore them. He's just some diner owner. And so as a result, you're left with really smart, fragmented firms. So commercial real estate, bankruptcy, labor and employment, corporate, all little pieces of the puzzle. But the pandemic created a scenario where you didn't know what you needed, and you needed them all at the same time at the table. So I'm going to pour my heart to you, tell you all of my problems as a business owner, whether it's the employees that are, pissed off because they think I got a lot of PPP money and I should give it to them and I should pay them even if there's no workers. So now you got employment lawsuits, the landlord down your throat, lenders down your throat, partnership disputes,
vendor disputes,
outside partner disputes. Well, you shouldn't be taking a pay now. If you're taking a pay, then that money should go somewhere else. We're in bad times. I'm sorry.
Right. But
let me needed everything at the same time.
But here's what you bring to it, and this is where it comes into play. You guys understand this. You understand. These are people that formulated success. And the problem is the world goes, the guy owns a diner. This is common. I do a joke in my act where I go, Greeks are the only people who talk about real estate they should have bought 25 years ago. And everywhere I go, my uncles do it everywhere. We would have bought this for $200,000. It's worth $4 million. Yeah. So that it's a joke, but it's true.
Very true.
So what you guys brought to the table, and forcefully because of COVID and the situations that happened to Andy, is that it makes you realize that we're at a time now, there's a transition. We're the center of the transition. And I've always said this. We're not 100% American and we're not 100% Greek. We're in the middle, the children of the diaspora. This is everywhere. Like this is Canada, Australia, South Africa, England, Ireland. Everywhere I've traveled to, you hear the same stories. But we now adapted to that now. Our parents worked their asses off to give us opportunities to be lawyers and entertainers and and building the networks like the boys have done here with the Greek AF and all that. I mean, these are the things now. But I like what you guys are doing. How you're bringing we've all had to work in the fucking restaurant, so you understand the mentality of those people coming to you. Is that right?
It's 100%. 100%.
Gentlemen, I came across a statistic. Maybe you can confirm this, but what you're just discussing is that to this day, there's still about 40,000 plus Greek-owned independent restaurants across the country that are probably struggling with these issues that you're discussing right now.
Yeah, there are. And the problem is you have for the wrong reasons, the business is not being passed down, right? The business that, again, the things that made our parents successful. And for me, you mentioned it before, whatever they did, my dad came here at 14, literally go. There's an uncle there, my brother, that's what his mother said. They say the roads are golden. That's what they said, right? It's not golden. He worked as a gas pump attendant first, and then he made furs, and then he worked as a groomman, and that's how he worked his way up, and he had nothing. But I didn't grow up with a million different things all the time and excess. I didn't, but I had a perfect life. I went to Greece. We went on family vacations. My dad was every day off was with me. I had everything that I needed in life and everything that I didn't need in life. And it was all because of that one diner that he had in Tribeca first, Gee Whiz, right? And then it was Tribeca's Kitchen. But it was always one place. And he gave me all that I ever really needed in life. Him and my mother were great parents. And that's what a lot of people did.
Andy, stop right there. That's what I'm talking about. We don't have that anymore. People don't understand that. People don't have it. You just said it. You had everything you needed and everything you didn't need.
I know.
That's what you got to teach your fucking kids, right?
Yep. Yeah. So what I do with my kids every night is I tell them, they'll have a pool party all day long, and then they'll I want to sleep over. And then they'll say, start hysterical crying. And I'm like, so you're crying. So I'm sorry. I guess your day. Tell me all the good things that happened today. And then they'll start listing off a million different good things. Tell me all the bad things that happened today. Well, I really want to sleep over her house. Okay, so that's 1 out of 20. So since you're crying, I don't want to make you sad. That's making me feel like I made you had a bad day and I did a bad job, right? So yeah, we do have to make different decisions as parents, and we have to teach them to think about outweigh these things, because this excess is not good.
It's not good.
It's not good. And that's ingrained in all of us guys. I'm sure I see how you saying it. I did it to my daughter the other day.
Yeah.
Well, Daddy, I wanted to go. I said, hold on. She goes, I want to stay up. It's 1:00 in the morning. And it's not her fault. Her mother passed out, and I was passed out, and the other kid's running around with the dog. I go, hey, you got to go to bed. She goes, you didn't go to bed. I go, bed. And she knows. She knows. And it's and I realize there's certain things you got to be a parent, but we were raised tough. Your story's like my dad, 15 years old, went to Canada, didn't know anybody, and then built something out of nothing. And nowadays, I got my cousin Spiro, who lives in Toronto, can't make up his mind if he could drive to Montreal to meet a chick. You're in Malacca. Our parents got on a boat, didn't even know where freaking New York or Montreal was.
Angela, you know what it is, and I see it here, and I also see it in Greece a lot. We baby our kids a little too much. I think it's a big issue, and what may be helping them in the immediacy is stunting their growth in the long term. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
You have to fall down. There has to be trials and tribulations. You have to suffer loss, because from loss, from darkness is built character, right? And we want to protect our kids naturally because we're parents, but if we overprotect them, we actually hurt them. So, it's not easy. I don't know. We should limit it to parenting. It's not easy, but.
Can we still give all the kids a participation trophy?
I'm totally against that.
Totally against that. Totally against that. And you know what?
You win, you lose, you suck it up.
Even with our clients.
Do better next time. Try harder.
Exactly.
Listen, some people want yes men, right? Some clients as well. And we are not that type of law firm. Just the other day, we had a client that we had to sever the relationship. We had to fire the client because we would give them really good advice, right? Nuanced, analysis, and they would just say, "I don't want to do it that way."
No, first she would say yes, and then she would see. I know what you're talking about. First she would say yes. Oh my God, this is genius. And then at the last minute, after we've spent a ton of time on it, this is crazy. You're not doing this. You're not doing this. What about this? What about this? We went over this, X, right? We went over this over and over. And eventually we're not in the business of just sucking the life out of your wallet. I I want to represent your kids one day. I want you to say, this person never be thinking about money with us. Yes, working with a good law firm that has your best interest, the stuff you're thinking about, and definitely the stuff you don't even know about, being analyzed and thought about. Of course, it's not cheap, never. But at the same time, I mean, you have to trust your lawyers. And once there's no trust, once that person is in such a dark place and you can't return from that, it's very hard for us to be the type of lawyers that we want to be, which is people that help them. You know, we want to genuinely help them, and we're not here for that one-off. We want to represent your kids one day, you know?
100%. Of course. You know, Ari, when you said about everybody wins, I remember we played hockey in Canada. I was having a bad game. My dad goes down to the coach, take him out. Take him out. And we're looking up and go, Isa Christos. My dad made me take him out of the game. Our parents would rip us out of the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different ball game now, and I don't know what. I don't really know what. What do you blame it on? Because I completely agree with everything you guys are saying. Like, the kids have to be tougher. The kids have to figure out their own problems, whatever. But I'm also guilty of, like, if I see my kid struggling, you know, he's 3 years old. If I see him struggling, I'm the first one to break. And my wife's like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, no, he's crying. And I catch myself doing that. And I think about it and I analyze it. And I'm like, what is it? What is it? How did our parents, how are they so tough? And like I don't want to speak for you guys, but like, I'm so like soft. Like my wife is way tougher than I am. But I don't know, is it because we're here and comfortable, and so we want our kids to be comfortable? Is it because they had a tough time?
That's exactly it, right? The old adage, the wolf at the top of the mountain is as hungry as the ones climbing it, right? That's exactly what it is. And look, not specifically your situation, but just generally as a community, we've lost a lot of the governing tenets that made us great as Greek Americans and Greek Canadians, right? Thriskia, Ikogenia, Sunday dinner. I went to Fordham, right? I lived on campus. My parents would make me commute home, not that far, about an hour, 45 minutes, every Sunday. They didn't care what was going on for Sunday dinner. You were there. No matter how hungover I was there. Yeah. And even if I didn't eat anything, I sat there in silence. And look at the difference, right? Son of a restaurant owner, son of a doctor. So different professions, different worlds. We grew up, but same ethics.
I was home at 3:30 because my dad opened up the restaurant at 4. So we had dinner at 4:00 every night, by the way. My dad was in bed by 8. So was the whole house. That's how I was raised, but it's the same concept.
We've gone the easy route. Yet the
and because we're weak. So decisions for short-term gain. Let me put this fire out here, right? You can have ice cream.
Here's the cell phone. Here's the cell phone,
right?
Yeah,
short-term gain,
iPads.
problem solving for the short term is very selfish. It's not because you want to make them happy. It's because you don't want to make the difficult decisions that require more work. And they become very problematic long-term. And the best analogy I can give is it's like smoking. You don't die a month after your first cigarette at 15. You die at 70 because the damage has been done already. And it's very hard to stop smoking and to repair your lungs at that age. Right? And this is the same thing. Repetitive, bad problem solving, little firefighting for a day and replacing it and repeating it. Your brain is going to create, superhighways that continuously do the same thing. They're going to act this way because this is going to bring X result. And, we have to stop that. We have to really understand the long-term damage.
It's like, the rubber band or pendulum effect. Like we started here and we started going this way. What I'm hoping, Sano Moyenya, Dora, is that, we're kind of over here and all of the things that we took for granted, Goya, the sons of Pericles, my parents used to drag me to New Jersey for the Horosperides when I was like 8, and I would want to kill myself. You know?
Unless it was at a school, then we tear that place apart.
Yeah.
You know how about this other challenge? You were mentioning about how, like, when we actually put our foot down to make decisions that are hard, but then we are subject to our in-laws or our parents getting involved and saying, "Wait a minute, you're being too harsh on the kids." And the grandparents see a different light because they see the kids differently than we do.
Who are these people? Used to beat the living snot out of us. Asitopidi. What asitopidi? Is my mother? Are you the same person? Even my sister says, "Who are you?"
What about when they say, "My kid's not going away to college"? You left at 14. What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? How did you possibly say that, right?
Right. How
do you say that? My father got a full ride to at 17. He graduated Brooklyn Tech a year early.
Wow.
He got a full ride to Brandeis in Atlanta. My Papu Michali, bridge painter, typical Colombian. He said, Queens College. So that's where my dad went. He went to Queens College, despite my Papu, who again came over with my parents, obviously with my father as a kid. But just different thought processes and mentalities.
Yeah, man. It's like,
so guys,
you can't win.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, look what we're talking about here: family. It all comes down to family.
Yes.
All of us. And the thing is, you guys are providing. You've identified, and KI Legal is provide for anybody watching today. Us kids who got the stubborn parents or the stubborn yayan papu, you need advice. Smart people get proper advice. Knowledge is power. That was the name, the motto of my school in Canada. Knowledge is power. You're as smart and good as the things you know. And you guys have done this. And for people watching today, any situation can be. If there's something you're not sure about, guesstimating with your life or your parents' livelihood that they've worked their whole lives with. This is not something. That's where the value to me comes in, to proper advice and coming to a company like KI Legal or to you guys. Forget the name of the company, you two, and your branch, because to me it's invaluable to get that. And I think a lot of times people go, "Oh, well, you know, we always have that cousin. Well, same with me. O pas less jokes. Okay, Malaka, get on stage and do it in front of 2,000 people. You're gonna freeze up like a deer." So, but it comes down to family. I think we all agree on that, right? It's family.
It is the family, and what I'm happy to report is, toda second and third generation of Greeks like us, right? They're open. They understand that what worked for their fathers doesn't work for them now because, again, mom and dad did a really good job, as we've all established, and though, right? So now, as Andrea said, we have to protect that, but you can't use the same tricks you were using yesterday, right? So it involves education. It involves bettering yourself, and you never want to be at the table and say, "Man, if I had just spoken to this person, or if I had just gotten off my ass and done my due diligence, I wouldn't have lost everything." Right.
And we got to put the egos aside.
100%.
Especially with business owners. People are, you got in-laws, you got brothers, you got brother-in-laws, you got kids. You've been the leader of the family, and you know that there are things that you are living. You're literally playing roulette on every single day that it's not going to happen to you. Somehow you've gotten away with it, or maybe you haven't. You just solved it on your own. But you're doing it, and because you don't want to let everybody else know, guys, I've been doing this wrong, and we need to fix it. Because you don't want to have that conversation for probably a lot of valid, uncomfortable reasons, you don't, and it just multiplies. And so people, we know this. We know how to navigate that part of it, and there's a way to finesse that conversation, and sometimes you don't have to be the deliverer of that news, right? Whether it's, hey, you're like Joe, right? Here's this case study or this article, or, share this with them so that they actually see this and feel like they're the ones making this decision to do this. Right. And they don't necessarily have to reveal something they've known for a long time, but the problems have to get fixed. Otherwise, you're going to eliminate decades of success. And as a result, it's going to have an impact on the whole community. It's super important that people just kind of face their problems head on. Yep. Put your egos aside. And we really do care about the work that we do. I always say, we do a lot of things that we don't get paid for, whether it's, the charter school in Staten Island and representing the church. Common joke with Michael. I always tell him, Mike, I got really good news and really bad news. I got a 60+ year ground lease plus an existing building lease. It's a massive transaction. He's like, oh my goodness, it's amazing. I'm like, what's the bad news? I'm like, we're going to do it for free. And this is like a 6-figure. This is it was a massive undertaking. But it was important to me. I grew up in that church. My daughters go to that school now. I knew the charter school, and it's amazing, right? My point is, it's really important to do good work with what you have to offer to the world professionally, whatever you do, whether it's a restaurant giving food to the homeless or to the local camp or to, someone forgets their wallet. It doesn't matter, but you should be doing good work with whatever you have to offer. A doctor who, takes a certain amount of people and says, I don't care. I'm not working at your hospital unless you let me take 10 pro bono matters a year, or whatever it is that you do, you need to do it. You need to contribute this, period. And we really mean it here. And that's actually the most rewarding work that we do. We do it with our heart. Most people appreciate it. I would say, a large majority of it, we have very, very few clients that leave us ever. And the ones that leave us is mutual, just different. They're looking for, paper pushers, and we're lawyers, we're advocates, we're counselors. We're here to give you advice. We're here to tell you genuinely what you need to do and not do. And we hope you'll listen to us, and we lead by example. And so those things all together, make us different. And you mentioned about the names, forget about the firm. KI is Koutsoudakis and Iakovou. The reason we changed it from Koutsoudakis and Iakovou Law Group, PLLC is because it's not about Koutsoudakis and Iakovou. It's about our work. And so forget name partners and non-name partners and all this bullshit. It doesn't matter. It's not about us. It's not about ego. It's about the work that you do. And that's the only thing that people will remember. No one is going to care about your biggest transaction or your biggest litigation matter. Yeah, they'll remember it. But the stuff that's going to define you is the stuff that people say, wow, right, I should try to do more like this and try to do more like this in my way or another way. Yeah. And, I've learned this, even my father, when he passed, is, coming to the restaurant and seeing little kid letters, it's amazing to have the restaurant, someone saying, they just broke a glass in the kitchen. Cheers to that, Ralphie. I came to the restaurant and I stationed up the computer. At one point, Michael was in there too. The place is full demolition site, and we had Can Legal operating out of the restaurant construction just so we could be together working. It was insane. Crazy. Yeah, but I had it facing the outside, so the computer screen's here, glass and sidewalk. So I could see all the customers coming. And this is like when there was no humans on the streets in Tribeca. Yeah. And strangers, people I haven't seen in 20 years. And I said this at the Gabby Awards when I spoke too, because they did the whole video for all those we lost from COVID. Strangers crying, hysterical, telling me about, the one time that my dad let them have a soup instead of a salad 20 years ago in his other restaurant and how that mattered. Or, the $55,000 that we raised from GoFundMe to share with people who, I was going to get to that was first round responders. That was this guy. I called Michael. I said, I'm living in my mother-in-law's house. We just closed on my other house. The closing on my new house can't happen because the bank can't get the shit together to tell me what I need because you don't have to pay your mortgage and all this stuff. I don't want 50 people coming every single day dropping off flowers. They don't want to be here either. Take the money, go do something, create a GoFundMe, and that's what came out of it. $55,000 just for $55,000 in masks and PPE. You're talking PPE about equipment. 40 boxes like this, huge boxes being delivered. We didn't account for that, right? Nicole Maliatakis. I said, Nicole, I just found out I have 40 boxes being delivered to my mother-in-law's house. Where the hell are these things going to go? And I don't even know where to bring them. Masks, shields, you name it. Yeah. So we brought them there. But this is where each person, what did she do? She went and she said, okay, let me call every nursing home. How many do you need of what? Every precinct, every firehouse from all 5 boroughs. Right. This is an example of everybody doing their little piece of the puzzle for something that you're not getting paid to do. Just do it. Right.
But hold on. You guys said it. I'm going to give you one word, filotimo.
100%.
Okay? And this is something I stress it. I tell my friends, tell them in LA, I tell them everywhere we go, it's in all of us. And what you guys are talking about right now is filotimo. And that's why you're doing it. And that's why we do it. That's why those refugees that nobody in Europe wanted went where my mom's from, Mytilene, and the Greeks had no money, no food, and they were still feeding and giving these people because we have filotimo. And this is what I'm trying to teach my kid. I want her. It's good to have an education, everything. What you guys are talking about, when Michael raised the money, you said, we saw this. We're observant of it. This is something. So, and it's a word no other language has but us. And what you're talking about. Exactly.
You talk about the πρόσφυγες and the refugees. The people in Mytilene did that, or the people in Kos did that, or wherever. Chios, plenty of examples, because we were the refugees.
Exactly.
100 years ago, 1915. Like my family, we're not from Kos Kalimnos. We're from, Asia Minor. We're from Bulgaria. Halikarnasso. That's where we're from.
That's my grandparents were some
thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
So, filotimo. There's not a lot of us either, right? I just saw something in the news yesterday that the Greek population has shrunk by 3.5% just in the past 10 years. That's a crazy amount of people.
600,000. Went from 11 million to 10.4. Yeah.
Whether it's brain drain, whether it's people just starting life later because of economics, like they don't have money. Like we need to do better. We need to support each other. We need to get back to our roots, which are all of those things that were instilled in our generation when we were growing up. The people who are 35 and older, the ones who are not to poo-poo the ones who are younger than us, but it's just different. I don't know how to explain it. If you don't remember what life was like before the internet, then we're different.
I'm going to give a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to the Hellenic Classical Charter School in Staten Island, the church that we helped. We represented the church on. Now they have a Park Slope location, and now they opened up in Staten Island. And I mean, it's an amazing thing that they're doing.
St. Nicholas.
Yes. St. Nicholas.
I've done a show there for them. I have.
Oh,
nice people.
That's the pro bono I did.
That's the pro bono case I was talking
about. The pro bono
one.
I do pro bono stuff, but it's spread out here. One in LA, one in Canada. I've done some in New York. I've done a lot of them in New York also.
Oh, you got to come. Definitely got to come to the church. But the reason why I brought it up is because, it was a lot of speaking with the parish, speaking with a lot of old timers. We have people that are in their late 90s in Staten Island that are Greeks. My grandmother was from Greece, and they're that age, right? Long time Greeks in the community. And it was this concept that you're going to have a school here that is going to have non-Greeks in it of all different races and religions. And somehow that's bad. And I was adamantly opposed to that. And someone argued, and I really embraced this 100% because it was exactly how I felt. Said, one day someone's going to be in the DMV, and there's going to be a black person on the other side, a Hispanic person on the other side, a Chinese person on the other side, and they're going to see your name and they're going to speak Greek to you. And you're going to say, oh my goodness, right? So now all of a sudden, your mother or your father who gets spoken to improperly because you have an accent, and it happens to my mother all the time, and it drives me through the roof. Every time that happens, whoever does it is in trouble. I'm getting on the phone. I don't care if it's Lowe's or whoever it is, right? But now you're going to go somewhere to a city agency or an office or somewhere else, and there's going to be someone that you would never imagine, and they speak, read, write perfect English. My kids are singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer alongside kids of all different nationalities, races, color, skin, you name it, in Greek.
Yeah.
Okay?
I
That
love
is amazing. Amazing. And that's how you spread Hellenism, Greek culture, Greek traditions. It's just mind-blowing. So that is why I brought that up.
Yeah.
Good.
And
Have you seen the movie Rise?
I just wrote it here. I watched it the other night with my daughters.
It's great.
You talked about the refugees. Look, Rise on Giannis Antetokounmpo. I literally watched it the other night.
It's a great movie.
Running from Turkey, raiding, right? All of that stuff.
They did.
And then he comes to Greece, and the nurse in the hospital says, "No, I left it at home. I left my papers at home. Oh, I came straight from work, right?" And the nurse looks at her and says, "I know, right?" And it's that philotimo. That's exactly when I wrote this. You talked about philotimo. Greeks don't do that. They have a heart. And don't forget that. Use it. Yeah. Use it whenever you can.
And that's a great story. And, he's going to play for I've met him. Super gentleman. And the funny thing about that guy is, for the Greeks did give him a hard time for a bit. And then they realized when they got drafted by the NBA, all of a sudden Nigeria said, no, they're Greeks there.
Like the Kalimni. The Kalimni are the same way. If you're an outsider, we're very xenophobic, but once you're in the fold, that's it. It's the shirt off of our back, literally.
So we have a drink. We have a drink at Marathi, which is the name that I converted the restaurant to. Marathi is a beach in Kriti. That was my dad's favorite beach.
So it's called Marathi now?
Marathi. And it's right underneath the Suda Bay Army Base, U.S. Army Base in Crete. So I grew up going there as my dad's favorite beach. And I said, you know what? My dad started and ended Tribeca's Kitchen. And, that was the end of that chapter. And I'm going to write the next chapter. And in Marathi, we have a cocktail. And so everything has a purpose. The dishes, we have whatever it is. But on the cocktails, there's a drink called philoxenia. And it was the number one cocktail that we made. And so my dad always has an iconic picture of him with his arms open, like multiple pictures I have of this. But there's one that was in Tribeca Trib, I believe. And that's how he always posed, open arms. You could be a complete stranger. That's how he welcomed you into his home at the restaurant. But we dissected the word philo and xenia, right? Philo, friend, xenia, stranger. Friend of a stranger. And that is what hospitality means. That's what philotimo means. That's what being Greek means. In whatever capacity, you are a professional. Whatever you do, philoxenia, friend of a stranger. It doesn't matter who you are.
Like this conversation right now. I mean, we've been talking for over an hour. We just met each other, and I feel like
we know each other.
Life.
Yeah. Are you guys? But here's I'm going to ask. I want all you guys. I've been watching this, and there's Greek festivals which are adored by Americans. Everywhere in the world, they love. If you ask people, number one ethnic festival people like going to, it's Greek. There's a problem with them now. Our parents' generation's going away. The new generation doesn't want to work. And they're having to outsource a lot of the. I don't know if you guys know this.
Yeah,
maybe you do.
That's right.
Am I right? They're outsourcing. It's no lack of people.
Volunteering.
There's probably a good Greek business there. You could probably get a company that comes and launches and runs your whole
something happen
all over the country.
I see something happen, and I've already thought of this. Now it's funny because I go to St. Sophia. I go to St. Sophia in L.A.
Yeah,
and that's where I was married, and we baptized my daughter. Every year for Pascha, we go to the Rose Bowl. They have a big picnic. And I always make a joke about it. It's the St. Sophia Greek Orthodox picnic at the Rose Bowl. And when you go there, it's run by Armenians and Mexicans. There's no freaking Greeks. They're all the Greeks at the cash register. And it's all Mexicans and Armenians.
The Greeks are having too much fun, They're
having way too much fun. But the thing is, are you guys seeing it in New York as we're seeing it in the West Coast?
No.
They're still supporting?
Our Archangel Michael Church, which I'm very
That's a good church, by the way. Yes.
Archangel Michael Church is a tremendous church, huge community. It started off with very humble roots, and it's grown over the past 30, 35 years as people have moved out from Astoria, Flushing.
That's the one in Port Washington, right, Michael?
Port Washington, yeah.
Right.
It's amazing. The amount of money that festival pulls in, and just the overall community spirit, the engagement. People are there and they're busting their asses behind the grill. And we're not talking about professionals. It might be their first time, Maybe they've made 100 frappes their whole life. They're making 100 frappes an hour at that.
Just to be clear, this festival is like Six Flags. It is the most well-run operation I've ever been to in my life. It's amazing.
But let me tell you something, Angelo. Way back when, I had traveled around the United States, and I remember I went to the Greek festival of the church in Portland, Oregon. We're talking 12 years ago. I forget the name of the church, but we were hosted there. In my prior life, I was an actor, and we had put on a show there at the Reed University, playing in the amphitheater. Anyways, so we're at the Greek festival, and I'm like, how the hell are there Greeks out? You know, New York guy. I'm used to like Astoria, Flushing, you know, and then I'm there in Portland, Oregon, and you could. I was so proud, like even a peso gato, apo perifania. I was so proud seeing these people who were like third, fourth generation. They couldn't speak Greek. They're not me. They're not like, you know, first generation. And they're there, and they're there as a community, and they're passing it on to the next generation. And I was so proud just seeing that. So hopefully that doesn't go away. And if it's starting to go away, we gotta do better.
Well, my little daughter says, "Ella babaco, ella doctora."
Port Washington, Archangel's a unique. I've done shows for you guys there, man. You got 500-700 people coming.
Yeah,
that's a tight, beautiful church, beautiful community.
500.
Your community.
Price per ticket.
I always give a good deal.
So you walked out
but
like
you guys support. They support.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Oh man.
So
this is great.
Well, I mean, like this has been you know, I mean, we've already been on for an hour. We haven't shut up. We're talking.
That's it.
We didn't even talk about the law firm.
And so much fun.
We did.
I mean, look, this is something Ari and Forty, you probably agree. This is definitely. You guys are guys we're going to bring back on this.
100%.
I know we haven't finished the conversation with you guys.
I would.
We love
Ari, Forty, what do you guys think?
100%.
Look, we do these a lot. You know, when download the app and like look at our history of the podcast. Yeah. We do this a lot, and the good ones are the ones that we just sit back. Like Forty and I literally were sitting back and just enjoying the conversation because you guys, you know, you captured our interest. You captured everything you were saying is something we connect with, something we believe in. And talking to you guys is like, you know, we're out having a drink and
like we're sitting at the Cafe Neo, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of why we do Connecting Greeks, because there's so many of us out there, and we share. We could be from different places, different social statuses, but we all connect to each other. We all have a shared just a shared vibe, and we feel it with you guys. You know. Forty and I are Boston guys. Angelo's Canadian out in LA. You guys are New York guys. You generally would think these people are all very separate and have no idea. No, I feel like I've known you guys for a long time, and I could just hang out and talk. And that's the beauty of being Greek, I think, and the beauty of how like you.
This is we really. I know. I definitely did. I know Michael did too. These things. You have no idea what's going on in our lives, in the firm at any given moment, specifically today. It's just been a chaotic time period. And this is something that both of us were so eager and excited to do because of what you guys are doing. Right. And I watched it. Over the last few days, I've watched, a lot of your podcasts, the prior ones from Calamira to so-and-so. Right. So, I'm listening to them, and it really is. It's a reminder of how amazing our community is. And it's not just now. This is thousands and thousands and thousands of years of this, right? And so there's a reason why we've touched so many different aspects of life, the world. And so it still exists. It's in our blood. It's in our DNA, genuinely. And so not just us, unique to us. I think it's just generally, it's like you said before, it's just who Greeks are. And so to kind of give a chance to kind of connect, share, it's really not about KI. It's not about Michael Andreas. It's about this message. And I'm sure a million other people feel the same way. And the louder we can say it, the more we can connect with each other, the more we can do for our communities and outside of our communities, but spreading Hellenism, spreading philotima, spreading philoxenia, love, all of these different things. These are things that are part of who we are, and you just spread it wherever you can. Greeks or non, right? This isn't about a job referral. Like, okay, yes, of course we welcome. We've done it plenty of times helping people, right? But it's about really, really, really spreading what it means to be Greek and connecting Greek. So, bravo to you guys.
Adi, on your point, just to close, you guys are from Boston. I've been to Boston many times. Great town. The Red Sox absolutely suck, though. I just want to.
Okay, here we go. No more friends now, Michael.
I can't fucking stand the Red Sox, bro.
Dude, the Yankees spanked them over the weekend.
But in all seriousness, I lost my train of thought. I was just so enraged. I would love to come back. You know what would be interesting? Added to your point, though, like we're all from different cities, right? First, second generation, whatever it may be. We have so much in common. I have so many stories of my travels, like throughout Europe and meeting Greeks, στο εξωτερικό, right? Germania, whatever. And you're talking to them, and I'm like, we're the same. We're literally the same, right? So it would be interesting for us to all get on and speak, a New York Greek with an Australian Greek, with a Texan Greek, or just giving you guys example. The commonalities.
And the differences.
And I would sign up for that immediately because I think it would be just a great show.
It's funny you say that, Michael. I've talked to Ari and Forty about that. We've had guests from South Africa, Australia, Canada, and we've talked about doing maybe kind of a show where we pick a few topics on connecting Greeks but we have to find the right time for everybody. That's the problem.
That's true.
Time zones are all.
Yeah, legal Nescafe will all wake up.
I got an idea, Andrew. We should all meet in Greece.
Oh, yeah.
Opa!
There you go. That's an even better idea. My wife's driving me nuts. But guys, this has been fun. I know Adi's going to put all your stuff up because Ari's the expert there at this. But Forty usually finishes off the show. Adi and Forty are going to he finishes off the show and he's going to ask you guys some questions.
Yeah, excellent.
Can I ask a very quick question? Your father's diner restaurant was in Tribeca for many, many years. Just random question. Ever meet De Niro?
I have not met De Niro, but I've met Joaquin Phoenix. I've met Mayor Bloomberg. I've met a lot of celebrities for sure. They've tons. And to this day, they still come. They still come. A lot of people come because you just treat them normal.
The reason I asked that is just because I associate Tribeca with Tribeca Film Festival and
Tribeca Grill. My dad's restaurant was Tribeca's Kitchen, and Robert De Niro's restaurant is called Tribeca Grill. He also has Nobu. He has a lot of places. He's part of the Myriad Restaurant Group. He's been a staple. He actually opened up the same time my dad did in 1989. It's him. There's Bubby's. There's 2-3 people that opened in Tribeca in 89. There was no Battery Park in 1989. It was West Side Highway and then nothing, right? So, and I grew up remembering that. You look outside the restaurant, and it was just nothing. You could see the boats.
You see Jersey.
There was no Battery Park. That zip code did not exist, right? It's crazy. Yeah. So Robert De Niro was one of them, but so was my father.
That's awesome.
Nice. Well said. And so, gentlemen, 3 quick questions for you that we like to ask all of our guests to get to know you a little better through the culture. And we talked about our culture and what it means to us. So even as restaurateurs and so forth, the first question we like to ask, we'll ask the both of you, food is a big part of our culture. Can you let us know your favorite and least favorite Greek food?
That's a good question. I mean,
I know mine. My favorite food are kalimnika fila.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Kalimnika fila, and a close second. I'm sorry, I know I'm answering a bit extra.
Oh, good.
Something called muri, which is είναι καλύμνικο και αυτό. It's the yemisi from the arnir, and you put a little egg in there and you fry it up. So tigani. I mean, it's absolutely good hangover food, actually. Yeah.
But Michael, for those that are listening that don't know what fila are, what would be the equivalent for those that don't know what fila are? You know what fila are?
Stuffed grape leaf.
Pomades?
Tomadaya.
Dolmades.
Yeah,
Dolmades.
I only know them as fila. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
man.
Dolmades.
That was a
I
hard
kind of understood that.
Dolmades. My mother makes them amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Least favorite?
Least favorite.
There's got to be one.
No, I like faques.
I love faques.
As I'm getting closer to 40, I like faques more. Believe it
That's
or
a
not.
kid answer.
But probably moussaka de teriazume.
Me neither. That's actually a good choice. I don't like moussaka either.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the first time anybody said that on the show.
I know, that's the first one.
Sorry.
Moussaka is a classic.
I'm actually going to double
What the
down on
hell's
that.
wrong with you guys?
I've never eaten moussaka. I'm not a fan.
I love it all.
Is it the eggplant? What is it?
Yeah, it's the eggplant. I'm just not a fan of the eggplant with it. It's like kind of like a spin. It's like a veggie version of a pastiche. I don't know.
Give me
I'm like,
just give me the
I'll
real
tell you.
deal.
I
Yeah,
agree
vegan
with you
version.
guys. I agree with you guys, but I wouldn't list it as my least favorite, but it's definitely not something that I'm like down with.
Yeah.
So I get it. I get it.
My favorite food, I guess, just trying to keep it within the culture, koutsoudakis. My dad used to season it, just like secret recipe, 3 days. It was amazing. That's like by far one of my favorites, like legit koutsoudakis, pork butt, pork belly, pork shoulder, 3 days marinate. I used to do it at tailgates. Feed like 3 sections.
It's very frustrating because in Greece, a lot of souvladzidika, they don't make koutsoudakis or they make very limited supply.
Yeah.
And then here in the States, you have to get lucky to find a place that makes.
We have koutsoudakis pork chop.
Very good.
Have Marathi.
Very good.
Come on, you're killing me. You're killing me.
We have a
That sounds
koutsoudakis
good.
pork chop. So we tried to take
You
kind
guys,
of like
you guys
staple
come to New
dishes.
York. We'll all go out.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
I'm
Love it.
there.
I don't know if I have a least favorite food.
Moussaka, to eat this.
Moussaka. Other than that one, anything other different than that? I
You're
don't-
down
You
with
guys like kokoretsi?
You're down with margarita. You're down with masa.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait, you guys got moussaka below kokoretsi?
I don't like kokoretsi.
Come on.
I mean, if you ask me between
Innards.
moussaka and
Innards.
kokoretsi wins the shit food of all time.
How about like
No, literally, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. Definitely not.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean,
What's next?
yeah.
Next question. As Greeks, we're pretty witty, right? And we like to say a lot of clever things. Any sayings that you grew up with that you actually still will probably pass on to your kids or your family and your friends? Any sayings that you grew up with that still resonate?
Bad or good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, this
That's a good one.
not censoring anything here, so you can go with the
I
flow.
mean, I have my grandmother's voice in my head right now, just saying a million things to me. I mean, Michali mu ta μάτια σου 14.
Like the nusu.
Katse frenima, which means katse frenima. I don't know, frenima.
Yeah.
Is that even real Greek? I don't know.
I think we all have.
Hey.
I've heard all those. I've heard all those from our parents. That's so funny.
Mine is, I guess, it's not necessarily something that I heard growing up, like hearing, but it's one that was always told to me, and it was something that I actually have a tattoo on my back that says it. It says, you can't change what's written. It's a very famous.
I like that. I
yeah.
like that.
You can't change what's written, and that's a very, very Greek thing.
Yeah.
Wow, I like that.
Very true.
All right, gentlemen. And the last question before we sign off here is, as Greeks, we're pretty dramatic people. We're pretty emotional.
Not me.
Right? And I grew up with a lot of superstition. Any superstition that maybe you grew up with that you might still to this day, live by.
I got a good one.
Go first.
So if you leave the house and then you forgot something, do not go back in. Like it's like the worst.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Not anymore.
So there's two, right?
And a mirror, obviously.
After anything, wedding, whatever, μπαίνεις μέσα με το δεξί πόδι, with the right foot, always. Right. But the one that I always remembered from a small age was every time we would leave Greece, because we went to Greece every summer.
If you tell me this, I'm a freak. Wait, I want to write it down.
Wait,
don't write it yet.
My father's grandma, Yaya Marigo, okay? Αυτή γυναίκα, she was 90-something years old, sharp as a sword. She knew everything that was going on, but I remember, I have a vision here, all black with the scarf, the madili, whatever. And she would sit outside. I remember we would take the 6:30 flight from Kos
I can't believe you
to Athens. and she would be there, με το ποτηράκι, γεμάτο με νερό.
Water.
And she would throw it as we're driving away, and I'd be bawling. I'd be crying because I didn't know if I was going to see her again. I'm going to start crying now. And like, I was going back to that shithole New York, and I wanted to stay in Greece, you know? So
why did she throw the water? Do you know why?
That's a good question.
I know why, because it's the answer right here.
What's the answer?
My yaya used to throw a water bucket, and he used to say, Nike's kalodromo.
There you go. There you go.
But Canadians do the same thing. My mother-in-law does that.
The taxi's leaving and she's going this.
Water at you.
Calodromo. That's why she did
I thought maybe because we were sailors historically and there was some kind of boat reference.
I asked about this. Calodromo, water bucket. Calodromo. I can't believe
That's amazing, bro.
That's crazy. That's insane. I love this kid. That's insane.
Awesome.
You said
That's
that.
awesome.
Well, guys, this was amazing, and like Angelo said before, come back so we could let's talk. Let's pick another topic and just talk for another hour next time you guys come back.
It's like therapy. This was really enjoyable.
I needed this today too, actually.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Somebody here. This is better. Calm down here. Better.
Nice Siniyamas. Pleasure
Siniyamas, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Much success to everything that you guys are.
You guys as well, and hopefully we'll see you in New York for a night of Marathi. Okay.
Well, we just want to say thank you so much for taking the time. We know you guys are busy. You got a lot going on. Thank you so much for taking the time. Always thanks, Angelo, for being with us. Being the rock that we are hanging on. Foti, thank you. And we want to thank everybody out there who's watching and listening. Join us again because these guys will be back. It was a blast. Thanks, everybody. Find out more about what they do, their firm, the restaurant, all that stuff. We'll have it in the notes. And thanks again, guys. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys. Guys.
Nikta, guys.
Calodromo.
Thank you.
Calodromo.